When I was about 35 years old, I had some trouble in my life, and I ended up with a vocational rehabilitation counselor from the state of Virginia, and she had me write out a list of all the things I love to do in life. And so I wrote down stuff like travel and food and this and that. And from there, she broke it out into a tree of 100 different things I could do around food and travel, and told me that if I could find something that I loved, I'd never have to work another day. So I took a job at 35, washing dishes and cutting vegetables, but I had a vision. So somebody reached out, they cared for me, and they helped me get my feet back on the ground. I asked him one day, I said, "Why did you do this? And I don't know what I can do to repay you." And he said, "You don't do a thing to repay me. What you do is help somebody else."
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long time.
I think all the employees really appreciate Matt. He'll push you and push you and push you to get you to, just get more involved in becoming great and excellent in what you do.
So we're a big believer in training people from the beginning. So we much prefer to hire somebody maybe who has no restaurant experience, but who wants to learn our system and be promoted from within. We've been very, very successful hiring people who don't have the technical skill in terms of the restaurant, but what we can teach them is to have a love and a passion for people and the food and the business.
It's one of the things we're most proud of is, our partnerships that we've forged over the years. I mean, when I started out here, I had nothing. In the first off season, it was 9/11. We bottomed out. I was going broke. And the companies that are local here that stood behind us, the people that were selling us fish, selling us produce, I got out 130, 160 days. I couldn't pay my bills, and not one of them turned their back on me. And so that was a great lesson, for us. And I realized I will never turn my back on the people that helped us get our start here. So years later, we're doing a heck of a business with a lot of people now that are creating jobs themselves in Delaware. I like knowing that when I drive down the road that our company or the companies we're involved with are helping pay for the roads, the schools, the hospitals, and everything else that's in this, what I think is just an awesome state and county.
We have an annual youth conference that we hold in August of every year where it's teaching teens age 14 and older independent living skills. And Matt was our guest speaker one year, and he shared his life story with them. And a lot of the youth were surprised to see where he is now and where he's come from. And that gives people hope. And that's what the youth need to see, that in spite of what trauma they're having now in their life, that they too can be successful.
I think back to the time when we started the Global Delaware Fund, and Matt had been traveling and building orphanages and working overseas, and there wasn't really a coherent message to what he was doing. He was going where the wind took him, is the best way I could explain it, and we needed to solidify what we were doing. And the major driving force in it was that the money we were raising was not going to the people that needed it. So what we decided was we'd build our own foundation and fund where we could control the money, and 97% of it could go to where it needed to go.
The fire at Catch 54 was probably one of the biggest moments I've ever had in a community-minded way. I knew I loved this place. I knew I loved building a business here in the state of Delaware. People I didn't even know were calling to see if they could help employ some of our people. Fortunately enough, we had enough business down here where we could put everybody to work the next day. I remember the DeFibos calling and saying, "Look, we will take your people and put them to work for you if you can't find a place for them." The people from Warren Station, he called the next day. He said, "Matt, we've never met. What do you need from me?" Jim Weisgarber, was on the phone, like that, seeing what he could do, what his company could do to help. And then there was the community outpour. I got 400 text messages and emails and phone calls from people in the community that just wanted to help, no strings attached.
For someone to get recognized that you work for and care about as a boss it's a highlight. You know, it makes you feel good about what you do.
I think the staff shares in the Cornerstone Award. It's a sense of pride for us too. It says a lot about us. It says a lot about on all levels, front, back, top to bottom. It's definitely a sense of pride for us as well.
Matt gives back so much to everybody, the community. He's just the most giving person I've ever met. I can't think of anybody more deserving than Matt Haley for this award.
What's the Cornerstone Award mean to me? I mean, you know, when I found out, it was fantastic. It was very emotional. I mean, we've worked hard, and it's not an award that I won. It's an award that we won. You know, our organization, the people in it have worked so hard over the years. And after I shed a few tears, the first person I called was my mother, you know, because there were times in her life where she probably questioned how good of a mother she was. And today, I'd like to think that I give her a good reason to feel good about being my mom.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right